Look, you guys, today is not a good video at all. Today is not a good video. I don't know if anyone tuned into one of my videos weeks ago about Celeste creator's next game. In that video, I talked about how a bunch of people left the company and how that was really shocking because it's an indie team. So it's like when you have like 6 people on the team and you lose like 3 of them, it's tough. It's real tough. And today we have some bad news. We have some real bad news. But before we get into that, I just want to thank you guys for returning to the channel. You know, it's not good news today, but it's news. So we got to talk about it. But thank you all for being here. You know, you don't even have to like this video. You don't even have to like this video. It's not a good video, but if you want to like to help me out, that'd be amazing. If you want to sub, that'd be great. What happened is, which I guess you guys probably do know from the title, the creators of Celeste were making a game called Earthblade, and now it is canceled. And this game, Earthblade, was really looking amazing. Now, it was a Metroidvania, and those always look amazing, and they don't always play well. So, you know, we don't know what it would have been, but it looked really cool, and I have no doubt that the creators of Celeste could have done some really cool stuff and maybe like some really amazing platforming to it. It already looked like they had some really cool enemies, and just, God, the game looks so good. So I'm very disappointed in this being canceled. Silksong fans can be kind of happy because we still have a Silksong game. Thank God it hasn't been canceled. You know what? Let's go. Let's go over this post from the creators of Celeste and see what they have to say about why they're canceling and all that jazz. So, hey everyone, I've got some sad news today to ring in 2025. Late last month, Nooooo and I made the difficult decision to cancel Earthblade, which was probably around the time of that first video. Yes, we are opening the year with a huge, heartbreaking, and yet relieving failure. I want to outline in this post what led to this decision and what it means for the future of Extremely OK. Before I get into it, however, I want to acknowledge that this news will likely come as a shock to fans who have been eagerly anticipating the game. We made this decision in December and felt it was best to wait until now to announce it. For us on the inside, we've had some time to process, grieve, and work towards accepting this, although that process is non-linear and still ongoing. For those only reading this now who might be emotionally invested in this project, we're sorry to disappoint you. God, is this the map of the world they were creating? Why are they showing this? That's so sad. Oh my God. Caption: the earliest piece of concept art for Earthblade by Amora. I drew a simple map and then Amora redid it with much more detail. Wow. That looks so good though. Oh my God. This is going to be one of the greatest games it never was, but... So this is the what happened part. Earlier this year, a fraction began forming in the team. Specifically, this was between Nooooo and I and Pedro, a founding member of Extremely OK, longtime friend and collaborator, the art director of Earthblade, and the pixel UI artist on Celeste and Towerfall. Wow, he worked on Towerfall as well. That's interesting. I didn't know that. The conflict centered around a disagreement about the IP rights of Celeste, which we won't be detailing publicly. That was obviously a very difficult and heartbreaking process. We eventually reached a resolution, but both parties also agreed in this end that we should go our separate ways. Pedro is now working on his game Neverway, which you should check out. We've played it and it's very promising. I'm going to check out Neverway, and I might do another little video on that actually. Losing Pedro wasn't the only factor in canceling the game, but it did prompt us to take a serious look at whether fighting through to finish Earthblade was the right path forward. So, you know, this whole IP thing with them is interesting. I'm sure it's just... It seems like it's Pedro wanting part of the ownership, and they didn't want to give it up. They felt entitled to it, and that's such a sticky situation. We talked about it a lot in the last video. I won't dwell on it too long, but the project had a lot going for it, but frustratingly, it was also not as far as long as one would expect after such a protracted development process. I do believe that if we soldiered on despite it all, that Earthblade could still be a great game, but would it be worth the pain? Noelle and I also began to reflect on how the game has felt for us to work on day to day and realize that it has been a struggle for a long time. Sure, working on one project for so long is bound to become a slog, but this feels like a deeper problem. Celeste's success applied pressure on us to deliver something bigger and better with Earthblade, and that pressure is a large part of why working on it has become so exhausting. That's interesting for them to admit. It's got to be tough. Like, that's like I feel like I'm very familiar with like the music world and the gaming world as well, but I'm newer to the gaming world, or at least not as no, but music, that's a huge thing. Like, when you have a successful album, following it up is always like an impossible like task for someone to do. It's like really what separates like the greats from just the just the people that make it. It puts them into another level. So following up something is just so difficult, and I want Silk Song people to remember that. There's a lot of pressure on them. But they also say Pedro isn't to blame for this. In fact, the split with him has given us the clarity to see that we have lost our way and the opportunity to admit defeat. I feel many ways about it, but one big feeling is undoubtedly relief. Because this is the internet, I want to be unequivocal here that the decision and responsibility for canceling Earthblade rests entirely with me and Noelle. If you're excited about Earthblade and angry about its canceling, Pedro and the Neverway team aren't the enemy, and anyone who treats them as such isn't welcome in any extremely okay community. Now, I do really like them, like, trying to save Pedro from maybe taking some heat from this, despite them having issues. Apparently, like, they don't want anything bad for that person, or that team or anything. So I do respect that. So what's next for them? While this has shaken out, other members of the team have moved on as well. Noelle and I want to take all of the many lessons we've learned from Earthblade, wipe the slate clean, and refocus ourselves back to smaller scale projects. We're prototyping again and exploring at our own pace and trying to rediscover game development in a manner closer to how we approached it at Celeste or Towerfall's inception. We still, of course, hope to collaborate with Amora, Kyle, Chevy, Lena, and Power Up Audio again in the future. Scaling the core team up post-Celeste has ultimately been a failure, and that's okay. We gave it all we got, and life goes on. We are happy to return to our roots and reclaim some joy in our creative process and see where that takes us. So this is really just sad. It's tough to hear. They didn't give us a lot of information on why they wanted to cancel it. They just kind of admitted defeat, which is noble, and like, I love and respect that, and I 100% think they should just, go take the time and figure out what they really want to make, because clearly there was something in Earthblade that wasn't like, I don't think they were passionate about it fully. Like, maybe, honestly, the Metroidvania market is very saturated. It's a very saturated market, and a lot has changed in the last few years, and undoubtedly, whatever they would have done, it being a follow-up to Celeste, would have been huge. But if they're not passionate about it, they probably do have no right continuing it. So I'm gonna, that's kind of my ultimate guess, and I think the falling out with friends just definitely added more, dirt to the pile, and who knows. I feel really bad for Extremely OK Games. I hope that they get their confidence back soon. They don't let this bring them down too much. It's definitely gonna be a long time until we see something else from them. But if they do some really cool small scale stuff, like I think people overlook the value of small scale games. Playing that game A Short Hike really changed my perception of what a game should be, because that game is probably a top 10 game for me, and it's so tiny, but it's amazing. But anyway, I really hope that they get back on their feet and they get their confidence back and feel better about going back to game dev. It would be really great for us to, to not get, them broken up. It seemed like Celeste was, Celeste is just it's just one of those life-changing games. It's one of those games you'll remember forever, and it's kind of an accomplishment for some people that may not be like the most, comfortable with platforming. Anyway, send your condolences to Earthblade. Were you guys excited for Earthblade? Did you guys know about this game much? I feel like it wasn't the most hyped indie game, especially for being, a follow-up to Celeste, but I was like fully ready to cover it on this channel, and like, I was hoping for like some news as they got closer, and I wanted to be one of the people talking about it, but R.I.P. Earthblade, and send your condolences to Extremely Okay. They need it. See you guys. Have a good one. Bye.